Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And, when you're looking at this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we've done this for each of the preseason games. Who are some players that you're just watching and keeping an eye out for? Obviously, caveats, no naming starters. But, you know, is there anyone that you still think they're in a positional battle? They still could prove themselves, or, they can prove they should be, higher up on the depth chart than someone else. Who are you watching for in this game most?
Man, I'm gonna stick with him. Malik Ham. I still gotta keep on rocking with him. I definitely feel like with the even though that yes, Jadeveon Clowney has came into the facility, he is now the pass rushing leader, veteran in that room. You still want to see what those young guys can come out there and improve, especially with Tyus Bowser. Still on being sidelined as of right now. I definitely want to see how can he continue getting to the applying pressure to the QB. I want to see how he fights, against those the offensive tackles. How he gets up the field, set up the X, and set the edge. How can he, drop back in the pass coverage, and how can he apply pressure for his other teammates to eat. Um, those are a lot of things that I'm looking at because with the secondary, I'm gonna keep saying it with the secondary. Even though guys are coming back, but they're still hurting. That front seven is going to have to create a lot of pressure on QBs, and they're going to have to stop the run. And I want to see how these young men get up the field, and set that tone because the way we got to the Super Bowl the past two times, it was really that front seven. Granted, we had some great safety work, great moments from our corners and stuff like that, but it was still our front seven that that set that tone and made things happen. So Malik Ham will be my first guy. Mr. Robinson, Tavius Robinson will be another guy. I didn't really see too much out of him. I did see him on special teams getting down the field. I'm like, okay, that's a big body getting down there trying to lay some tackles. I like that, man. I like that. And Mr. Trenton Simpson, he didn't have the best
Yeah.
performance. That was his first preseason game. I want to see how he continued to get himself acclimated. He did have moments where he did get in the backfield uh, and created some pressure. He did miss some tackles though. So I want to see how we, you know, let let his speed get acclimated to the speed of the NFL because we see that he got it. All he gotta do is sit down and go through somebody, and so I'm staying on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not really worried about offense. Those would be my three guys to watch.
Yeah, I think those are all three really good guys, especially on the defensive line. Looking at the pressures, that's a position where the Ravens have struggled, and there's definitely opportunity to get snaps. So I think all those guys are definitely good ones to bring up. I'll switch it over to the offensive side of the ball. I'm going to go with Simpson, John Simpson.
Ooh,
Had a very good game in the last game at the left guard spot. And I think if he has another good one, he could lock up that left guard starting position for this season. I think that's a huge question mark coming into this game. And I think we can watch him against the Tampa Bay front seven and, defensive line, which has always been solid the last few years. They just keep churning guys out. They drafted the guy out of Washington, Joe Tryon. I think he ended up changing his last name, or what now goes by a full last name. It's like Joe Tryon. I always want to say Sri Lanka, but it's not that, but it's something very close to that. I can't remember exactly what it is. But they have obviously Shaq Barrett and they developed Vita Vea. They consistently develop good defensive linemen. So watching John Simpson against those guys, I think would be very helpful. Next up, give me Anthony Brown. This year in the NFL, you can have an extra emergency quarterback kept on your roster on game days that doesn't count against the 53-man roster. And that's down to Anthony Brown versus Josh Johnson. And Josh Johnson played very solid last game. We're going to have to see how Anthony Brown does. Anthony Brown got the short end of the stick because the Ravens were running the ball just about every single time when he got into the game. So we weren't really able to see him sling the rock. I want to see him play. I want to see him play well, and just keep an eye out. If he's struggling, he might not be that QB3 for game day. He may be the QB4, not be able to be on the active roster, and instead, be stuck on the practice squad for the upcoming season. So that's definitely someone I'm watching. And then finally, Travis Vokalek.
Ooh,
I think he and Charlie Kohler
Nebraska.
are definitely getting after it together. And,
Yeah.
I think Charlie Kolar is probably going to make the roster, but Vokalek is making a push to maybe say, hey, we need 4 tight ends on this roster because I can play. And I think other teams are going to see that I can play. So he's my final guy of like, hey, I do want to watch him because he's making plays out there.
You know what? I love the fact that you went to the offensive side of the ball. I did see John Simpson, climb up to the next ladder, get the linebackers. I think it was on a run play with Keaton Mitchell in the backfield where, he sealed off it was like a stretch play, and John Simpson sealed off the blocker so Keaton Mitchell can get up the field. So, John Simpson has been looking great. Anthony Brown has always been my honorable mention. And, I still believe the young man can, I feel like he's a solid backup. I'm that's just my opinion. I know people want to get on me. They may get on you, McConnell, because how we've been rocking with Anthony Brown, Junior for since we've been seeing him, man. But when he is throwing the ball and he's locked in and lasered in, he's locked in, and he can throw. And he throws in those tight windows. Sometimes he's thrown it to the other team, but when he's been throwing it to his own teammates, he's been looking pretty damn good. I'm not saying he's a starter. I'm not like other Ravens fans that's been saying, "Oh, Snoop is a starter" and stuff like. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying Anthony Brown Jr. could be a solid backup in the league. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, I like that, and Vokalek, man, that took me for a loop, man. But you know what? I'm not mad at you because he's been on Charlie Kolar's tail. He has. I do feel like, Charlie Kolar is the number 3 tight end, but Vokalek is, he's saying, hey, I am an undrafted guy, but I was at Nebraska and I was averaging about 24 yards a catch as well. So I can make some things happen too, man. Don't forget about me. So I definitely like how he's been being utilized in the offense. And hey, if this year we keep 4 tight ends, I hope the Swiss Army knife, as much as I talk bad about the Swiss Army knife, Patrick Ricard, I hope they can make some room for him to still be available to be on his team, because he does.
He may
bring.
be wide receiver 6. I know
Hey,
we talked about talent, but he made a nice little catch in that game.
You did see him, man. His route was slow, but he caught the ball. He showed soft hands. So hey, you never know.
Always love Project Pat.
Love to see it, man. Love to see it.
But like, I mean, really, with all those guys, I don't think there's any like major positional battles. I think they've all been relatively set.
Yeah.
But it's just like now it comes down to how many of each position do we keep? Do we keep 7 wide receivers? Do we keep 3 tight ends? Do we keep a fullback? How many edge rushers are we keeping? How many corners are we keeping with the injuries that we've had? There's a lot of questions that we have as to how many. I don't think there's many questions as to who's going to be here and where everything fits on the depth chart. It's just about, all right, we know where you sit, but are you making it past the line of cut?
Yeah. Do you feel like there will be any other cap casualties? Well, any cuts where you might be interested in taking from any other team?
From what I've seen so far, no. But usually Monday is when all those happen. So if someone gets cut, I think the Ravens could very well end up going after them, and we ended up keeping some guy in the 53, and then we cut him the next day. And I always feel bad for those guys because they get cut right away. Like they make it, they're so excited, and then you're like, oh, sorry, bye.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you seen any rumors of anyone that might get cut?
I haven't seen any rumors, man, but I did watch the first Chargers game during the preseason. Andrew Farmer, I forgot what school he came from, but he's a long, lengthy defensive end. Chase down the QB, got the tackle. Just stayed with the play. We need, and when it comes to edge rushers, I love my high motor guys that stick with it. I don't know if Eli Ricks is another guy that's on the bubble from Philadelphia, but if he is, hey man, I would take him over Kayvon Seymour. I would, I'm just saying, man, So I mean, yeah, I'm looking more at the defensive side of the ball.
I like it. I think that would definitely be somebody to go after. There could definitely be some corners that we sign. We'll just have to see. Maybe our guys all ball out on Saturday, and it's going to be fantastic.
Hey, I mean, we are getting Jalen Allen-Davis back. I don't know, I think he'll probably be a game time decision. And Rockion's son did come back to practice as well today too, so maybe he's a game time decision as well. So we definitely will see, who is going to be out there playing, because those guys, they were exhausted. We could tell.
Yeah. All right, then. Well, everyone, once again, thank you all so much for listening and watching this most recent episode. Let us know in the comment section down below your thoughts, your opinions on everything that we talked about. We're going to have the pregame and postgame stream on Saturday, so make sure to come through to that. Game is, I believe, at 7 p.m., so pregame stream will be it'll probably start between 6 and 6:15. So thank you all so much. Make sure to come through to that, and we'll see all of you again next time.